Let's start with the basics. Soccer is an invasion sport, meaning I'm trying to take space in order to score, and you're trying to shut down space so you can get the ball back and you could stop me from scoring. So if I initiate my movement, I am going to force you at some point to draw you out from where you are, to force you to move. Or you can move first and force me to react to what you did. Those are two very, very simple basic principles in invasion sports. Again, the game is about only two things: exploiting time and space to score goals, and if you can't score goals, keep the ball until something else opens up that allows you to score. Or, if you don't have the ball, shut down time and space to stop the opponent from scoring, and then eventually win the ball back. When you watch the game and you try to understand how players are processing the game, try to look at it like this. Change is constant. The information is in real time from the environment to the player, to the team, in a real time feedback loop. So players are not making a finite decision. They're not doing A plus B equals take action C. Think about making a decision in real time, so players are always deciding. They can change their intentions. In a split second, they can change their intentions. They're always in that process of deciding. This is why it's a player's game. It's not a coach's game. How do we know that the player is always deciding? How do we know that the player is in this dynamic environment, inside this constant feedback loop of information? We know that from the theory of ecological dynamics. And we know that this is based upon the reflection of light. There's mathematical equations that can prove these things. But if you do not have a foundation of academic theory, then there's no way that you could actually create a methodology to teach the game. Here is a typical way to work the ball out of the back. The coach gives the team what you would call a structure. This is a game model, part of your game model. Here's the structure. And what I contend is, this is an invasion sport. It is up to the players now. Coach got them set up, but now it's up to the players to see where the opportunities for action emerge in real time. This is now a player's game. The exploiting of time and space to take advantage of the opportunities for action that emerge to score a goal is what the players now have to have the freedom to go and do. This does not have to be a rigid, scripted out process where the game model is the one with the answers. In my opinion, the players need the freedom to come up with the answers themselves based upon the training environments that you've put them in over a number of months, years, days, whatever it is. Now you have an example of an attacking game model. You have something close to Pep Guardiola's positional grid in a training environment there. And again, you can do these things. This is just to stimulate ideas. This is not meant to be a rigid blueprint of what each player must do to win the game. This is supposed to be a flexible membrane to attune the player's visual perception to possible opportunities for action to exploit time and space to score goals. This could be a 5-1, 3-1, low block, mid block, whatever you want to do to give the team a structure defensively and give them some organization. That is totally fine. It's much simpler to do on the defensive side than on the attacking side. But the question is, do you have to do it that way? Here is a training environment where the principle of horizontal and vertical compactness is worked into the game via using constraints of the way you mapped out the field. And that gives you a really good defensive shape. So do you give them specifics, or do you give them ideas of compactness, vertical, horizontal, for them to carry out in a game? Or does it have to be really, really strict where it's a 5, 1, 3, 1, whatever it is that you're doing? Now, this is an example of a self-organizing possession exercise. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe this is 10 versus 5, one touch. If the team of 5 wins the ball, they have unlimited touch and they can score in either goal. So for the team of red, do they need a direction? Do they need to score in goals? No. Is it positional? No. It's self-organizing. Does this stuff make us a better team in the way that we play in our game model? Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, they are still exploiting space and time to keep the ball, and it's real information because they're playing against real defenders. So my kind of point in the methodology is there's a lot of freedom here. You just have to choose what you do in training to align with academic theory, which is, are you exploiting space and time to keep the ball? You don't always have to score. You don't always need a direction, but that will have major benefits for players because it's meaningful decisions on the ball all the time. Now, this is different than the possession. This is positional. Positional means each player has a space that they have to cover. Can they rotate? Sure, they could rotate, but this is a real positional types of exercises, and that plays a role as well. Players should be able to self-organize. They should be able to also play positional and also have rotations. Can they apply this to the bigger game model? Absolutely, they can. This is all part of the methodology. I'm going to leave you with a couple thoughts now. Practice session design should be anchored in academic theory. And for me, that would be ecological dynamics. I have a lot of other videos explaining ecological dynamics. Make sure that you have possession, positional, tactical game model, and constraint-based trainings. All those are about exploiting space and time, and all those players will get huge benefit from. Players always are learning in those environments. At the end of the day, players create players. It's not really the coaches, it's players that create players. And I can go on about why that I believe that. But the environment themselves, right? That's the players. When you put together that environment as a coach, the players playing against each other in those environments is what builds their knowledge base and makes them better. Yes, the coach has to be able to create great environments that are appropriate for all these age levels and players, but players make each other better by competing against each other in these environments because they learn how to exploit time and space to score goals, and they learn how to shut it down. Now, my methodology is a long-term methodology, and it gives control to the players, and it creates a lot of joy because players, at the end of the day, they want to be on the ball. They want to make meaningful decisions on the ball. They don't want to stand around a bunch of cones in a training session that doesn't even look like the real game. highly game representative is where it's at. Hopefully this video gave you a little insight into my methodology. I got a ton of more videos online that would help you understand my methodology a little better if you're interested.